Out of pure jealousy, my stepdaughter absolutely destroyed my daughter's room, and it's just because she's mad that she got the bigger room when I moved in with her dad. And there's something that I'm going to do about it, and it might get a little messy. My stepdaughter just trashed my daughter's newly renovated bedroom. She's never acted out like this before, but my daughter is inconsolable and I don't know what to do. For some background, my late husband and I had only one child together. Our daughter, Tiffany. She's 15 now, but I can still remember how I felt the first time I held her. I knew then that I would do anything and everything in my power to ensure that she was always safe and happy as can be. Well, a few years ago I lost my husband and Tiffany lost her father. It was not an easy time for any of us, and while, we could have maintained the lifestyle that we had become accustomed to, we both decided that we need a change. So we moved back to my hometown, much closer to my family than we've been before. Tiffany and I have never been particularly close to my husband's side of the family, who were never really a close-knit family to begin with. So finally, having people near us that felt like a real family, it meant so much. Evidently, we got more than we bargained for by moving back home, because shortly after settling down, I met Lucas. You see, Lucas, like me, was 36. He's a widower, juggling work and being an only parent, but unlike me, he had 2 children instead of 1, though his daughter Robin was the same age as my Tiffany. His son Cal is 13 now, and we took things really slow, both of us having lost people that we've started families with relatively young. Though it's been quite a bit longer for him, Tiffany and I were very much still recovering from the loss of her father. Eventually, though, I decided to open my heart and our home to Lucas and his kids. I did so only after making sure that Tiffany was completely okay with it. As I've said, her happiness will always be one of my top priorities, and if that meant holding off on a relationship, that was what I would do then. Fortunately, for Lucas and I, Tiffany and his children gave us the green light. We've been together for a good while now, and though we were going to hold off on marriage until we've been cohabiting with the children for a bit, a situation with insurance made it so marriage made the most sense. We have not had a big wedding or anything, though. We do plan to eventually, but we're officially a married couple thanks to a quick trip to the courthouse. Now, we're faced with the biggest issue that's come up since the first get-together. I want to make it perfectly clear before I get into any of what's happened that I adore my stepchildren. Robin and Cal, though not my own biological daughter and son, have brought so much love and light to my life that I want nothing more to ensure that I do the same for them. Though we are a blended family, I would like to believe that Lucas and I have done a good job with it all. The kids were accepting readily by both sides of the extended family. Even Robin and Cal's maternal grandmother, their late mother's mother, has been lovely to Tiffany and welcomed her with open arms as, quote, bonus grandchildren. I could not have even been more happier about the situation. Until recently. Tiffany and Robin have been at each other's throats constantly since Lucas and the kids moved in. It started off small with little disagreements about paint color or, borrowing clothing. It soon escalated to the point that we absolutely could not entertain the idea of them sharing a bedroom. The house is laid out with 3 main rooms, the master, 2 decently sized ones, and each that does come with an in-suite and respectable closet space. Then there's the spare room, which does not have its own bathroom, a significantly smaller closet, and it's quite a bit smaller than the other bedrooms. The initial plan had been for Tiffany and Robin to take the master bedroom, while Cal took one of the regular bedrooms and Lucas and I took the other. This way, none of the kids got the short end of the stick. Unfortunately, the civil war between the girls quickly eliminated. That is an option. So, we came up with another solution. Moving houses was not and still is not an option due to financial reasons, but we did have an unfinished basement that any of the kids could have if they were willing to put up with the spare bedroom until the basement was complete. Cal was perfectly happy with his own bedroom, so it was left to the girls. The basement space was a bit big, but it would take quite a bit of time to complete, and both of them valued their space enough that being in the cramped spare bedroom would be a big price to pay. Ultimately, it was Tiffany who decided to take the plunge, resigning herself to the tiny spare room until her basement vision could be realized. Things actually calmed down for a bit afterward, with the girls in different rooms, the arrangement now being Lucas and I in the master suite, Cal and Robin and the other two in suite bedrooms, and Tiffany in the spare room. So, the fights actually seemed to be decreasing in frequency. This is not to say that they were best friends all of a sudden, but they could be at the same dinner table without threatening to stab each other. I considered it an amazing improvement. Shockingly, Robin's maternal grandmother, Grandma Skylar, offered to help pay for everything to do with the basement renovation in a show of goodwill and family unity. She said that she wanted the girls to see each other as sisters, and if keeping the peace meant separate rooms, well, so be it. Plus, considering she lived further away than my side of the family, she figured this was one way for her to be involved in the kids' lives. Both Lucas and I were completely taken back by her gesture, but decided to accept it, seeing the sentiment behind it and how it would help Tiffany get settled sooner. We ended up spending some of our own money to get Robin and Cal some decorations for their room, so all the kids felt special and included. Again, things were going well. I swear to you, Tiffany and Robin actually started bonding at some point. There were arguments, of course, still, but when aren't there? But now there were moments where I'd see them actually sitting together and having what looked like a civil conversation. I should have known better than to think that the peace would last forever, though. The work on the basement has been winding down for a bit now, and Tiffany has been working day and night just to get everything set up just the way that she wants it. Grandma Skylar has taken her out a few times just to pick up decor, decorations, and other finishing touches, and Tiff is determined to surprise me with her elite interior design skills. So, I've been largely uninvolved in the exact details of it. As expected, the closer the basement gets to being complete, the more excited Tiffany has become. Even Cal had begun to seem quite excited to see what she's done with the place, though I'll take the blame for putting them onto HGTV design shows. You see, Robin, she seemed perfectly content with her own bedroom leading up to the completion of the basement, though I'm not so sure that I read all the signals right looking back at it now. 2 days ago, Tiffany declared the basement complete, and she invited all of us down to see. Even blindfolded us for the final reveal, you know. Honestly, I was very surprised and impressed with what she managed to pull off. It wasn't what I have pictured to be her style, but seeing as she's 15 years of age now, it's around the time for her to develop and refine her own taste buds and preferences. All in all, it's a beautiful room. A little more spacious than Robin and Cal's, but hey, that's been part of the deal anywho. Cal loved what she's done with the place, especially the little sitting area that she crafted for herself, that he immediately asked if he could use sometime because of how cozy it looked. Well, even Lucas, who rarely has much to say about any design, thought the place looked good. Robin, on the other hand, did not share this sentiment. She remained silent the entire time that we were looking around, and when Tiffany prompted her to share what she thought, well, she stormed back upstairs to her own bedroom, slamming the door behind her so hard we heard it downstairs in the basement. So Lucas goes to check up on her, but did not actually manage to get anything out of her. His best guess is that she's feeling a bit envious of the space that Tiffany's made for herself, and is just regretting not choosing the basement for herself. We both agreed that her reaction was rude towards Tiffany, but that we'd given her the right to just cool off in the entire night, and we'll discuss it in the morning. So we ended up not having the chance to. Tiffany's, whose mattress has not arrived yet, elected to spend one last night in the spare bedroom. This meant the basement was left empty for the night. 2 floors away from everybody, and unbeknownst to the other inhabitants of the house at the time, this also meant that we did not hear anything from the basement. When we woke up the next morning, everything seemed normal. It was a Sunday, so Lucas and I had a peaceful morning while the kids slept in. Cal eventually wandered down for the late breakfast and planted himself on the couch with his Nintendo Switch. After a while, Tiffany woke up too. She had a quick breakfast and then ran back upstairs to get her favorite pillows to move down to the basement. Everything just remained normal for a few more minutes, and then we heard the screaming. Lucas, Cal, and I rushed down immediately to find Tiffany standing in the midst of her once perfect bedroom. Her decorations, perfectly placed just hours before, were in tatters. Posters that she hung up on the wall have been torn down, knickknacks strewn about and knocked on the floor, and quite a few items broken. Honestly, I've probably done a full scale of it all at a disservice with my description because it truly looked like a tornado had hit the place. Tiffany, she was so distraught and immediately ran out of the basement where we found Robin, now awake near the door. Tiffany began screaming at her over the basement, blaming her for everything that's happened. At first, Lucas and I tried to intervene to calm Tiffany down. But when we noticed that Robin was not denying anything and instead yelling back that Tiffany deserved it, we decided to just separate the girls and get the story from each of them. So, it's true. Robin was the one to trash Tiffany's bedroom. As for why we've been unable to keep a substantial reason out of them, Tiffany insists that Robin is jealous and a slew of other words that I will not be repeating on the internet. And Robin insists that she's justified but refuses to tell us how. Mercifully, they still attended different schools, so we don't have to worry about them going at each other's necks while at school. Lucas sent Robin, and I sent Tiffany to school somehow, and we both took the time to find out what we could do, but both of us returned empty-handed. I've taken the day off to sort through what I can downstairs in the basement, and Lucas will be coming home early so we can discuss what to do about it. Right now, I'm just at a loss. Please, guys, if you have any insight how to handle this, tell me. How would you fix it? What's up, everybody? Mr. Reddito here. I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. So this one looks like a family drama. There are some comments that brought a lot of attention in the original post, so we're going to check out some of those comments before we hop into the main update. And guys, just a quick little interruption. I've noticed by the statistics, only about 20% of viewers are subscribed to the channel. If you are enjoying these type of videos, please hit that subscribe button underneath this video as it does help support the channel a lot. Alright, let's go ahead and check out one of the comments, and then we'll hop into the update. Comment number 1 from Generic Guy says, okay, honestly, I say this with the only of the best intentions, but you should have seen this coming. I mean, not this exact scenario specifically, but something along the lines. Now, I'm not saying that you need to be omnipotent and aware of every intention your child have, and know exactly when one of them is committing vandalism against the other, but considering you seem to have moved from a dead husband to a new town to a new family oh so quickly, something was bound to happen. In this case, your stepdaughter broke first. Blended families, it's difficult. I do admire your tenacity to make it work and find a solution for the sleeping situation. Not everything is going to be controllable. However, not every conflict is going to have a clear-cut solution. I do believe, you believe that you've been doing the best, but these kids just need to get a little better. Godspeed. Well, that is one of the comments. We're going to check out another comment that has a completely different, opinion. Here it is from Popular Contrary Belief. I agree with a few other commenters that I've seen posted already about how you and your husband completely rushed the whole blended family thing. But I'm willing to accept being in the minority to say that I think this is completely your fault. You and your husband both have been completely incompetent parents to think that 1, you could get married before testing out how the blended family would even work, and 2, forcing those girls together when you yourself admit that your daughter is still grieving. I mean, come on. You say that her happiness is your priority, yet you forced her into the situation. She lost all sense of privacy when you moved your new family and banished her to the basement. And now that her new addition has taken away even that, if I were your daughter, I would leave and never come back the moment I hit 18. Alright guys, that's the 2 comments we're checking out today. Let me know down below in our comment section which one of those comments you're rocking with. Here is your first update. Given the precarious state of my family following my initial post, I've taken a second to come back with an update. As you can imagine, that means that I've received a considerable amount of comments and private messages calling me a terrible mother, an evil stepmother, and a desperate widow who cannot live with herself, and a slew of other much more horrible names that I would never repeat to my worst of enemies. I get it. It's a complicated situation, and maybe my original post made it seem like I wasn't taking it as seriously as I am. Once again, I love all of my children, both biological and marriage. This incident has not changed that. However, that does not mean that I can just turn a blind eye to what Robin did. Neither can Lucas, and we have not. Following my first post, Lucas returned home from work early, and we discussed at length how to solve the issue. We knew it wasn't as cut as dry as some of you have been suggesting that we think it is. Actual actions do need to be taken to settle the situation and prevent it from happening again. Given how affected Tiffany was by Robin's actions, we decided that some space would be the best thing for both of our girls. As such, Robin has been sent to stay with my mother for the time being while things calm down. This is not the permanent solution, and my mother lives all of 10 minutes away, so she's not that far. Before I get any comments about sending Robin to live with somebody on my side of the family that she barely knows, I would like to remind everybody that my mother has been amazingly welcoming to Lucas and his children from the get-go. Robin has known my mother, whom she even refers to as Grandma Saph. She's extremely comfortable with her, and the kids have slept over at my mother's place before. She is not a stranger. She's 10 minutes away from the closest family that we have. As for the damages done to the basement, Lucas and I have been discussing it all, and are considering having Robin pay for the repairs and replacements. Obviously not right away and not all at once, but between her allowance, her birthday money, and her summer job, she's more than able to pay it back over time. Considering her own grandmother had spent her money on this. Lucas and I will be covering everything up front, just to ensure that Tiffany's still able to move into her bedroom as she pictured it. But Robin will be paying it back over time. We're still working on getting some information out of both of the girls about what happened, and I've asked my mother to speak to Robin if she can. Like some of you comments said, I very well know as the mother of a teenager, people don't just snap for no reason. Regardless of what the reason might be, there will be consequences. But it is important for us as parents to know what caused this and how we can prevent it going forward. None of the punishments are set in stone yet, so I would love some feedback from any parents who have faced something similar. But overall, we're just going to take this day by day and make sure that our family comes out the other end stronger. Update number 2. Hey guys, well, it's been a turn of events that neither I nor Lucas saw coming. My mother declared Robin the victim of everything that's happened and asked that Lucas and I re-examine the whole situation before coming to any conclusion or dishing out any punishments. I've only just spoken to her, so it's not fully sunk in yet, and I have not had time to process her or even press her for information. But I'm absolutely reeling. Never in my life have I known my mother to be anything other than fair and just. As such, I've always been inclined to believe her and take her advice regardless of how insane it might sound in the moment. So right now, however, having just helped my daughter piece together the world's saddest jigsaw puzzle of her favorite band poster that her late father got her, I don't know what to think. As stated in my previous update, Robin spent the last week with my mother, giving each of the girls, some separate time apart. For what it's worth, it's helped a little bit as Lucas has reported Robin being a little bit less strung up during the drives to and from school, and Tiffany has been a little more relaxed too. Both girls still refuse to speak about what happened beyond blaming each other. So we've been looking into, the rolling of the rest of the consequences discussed. Earlier, I called my mother to get her view on having Robin pay for the damages that she caused. I expected little other than some validation and maybe a bit of pity for the items Tiffany can't replace, such as the poster from her father. But instead, my mother told me that from an outside perspective, she understood why Robin had done what she did. When I pressed her for more information, she told me to speak to the girl myself. She then proceeded to tell me that making Robin dip into her savings to pay for Tiffany's things was positively draconian, and she simply would not support it. I wish I could say that my mother's disapproval and inexplicable dismissal of Robin's vandalism was my only concern. However, for all my mother's virtues, she's always been a bit of a gossiper. Never regarding truly sensitive information, but enough that it sometimes grated at me. In this sentence, she's chosen to let some of our family know about the punishments that Lucas and I were considering for Robin. Since then, I've received a handful of text messages, even some calls telling me how my aunts and cousins disapproved of my parenting methods. On top of that, during the time that Robin was with my mom, my brother's children were around too. My brother and his family moved abroad years ago, so while Tiffany had been close to her cousins as children, they didn't really keep in touch. Now, seeing as they're living in the same house, Robin's became well acquainted with them. According to Tiffany, Robin's been posting pictures with them on Instagram, specifically to make her feel excluded. Seeing as Robin was always chronicled in her entire life on her private account, I don't actually think this is targeted at Tiffany, but she's feeling a bit jealous nonetheless. Honestly, I'm at my wit's end here. Between the original problem, the existing tension, my mother's sudden allegiance and my family's pressure, and Tiffany's newfound jealousy, I don't know what to do. I have no idea how I'm meant to solve all of this without causing an even bigger mess. Update number 3. As many of you have suggested since my last update, I've decided to head over to my mother's place with the intention of speaking to her. And perhaps Robin, directly. Lucas had evidently been striking out with Robin, and I was no closer to getting a proper motivation out of Tiffany, so this seemed like the sensible route. All in all, I'm grateful that I decided to pay them a visit. When I did, Robin was willing to confide in me. Given the fact that this is a throwaway account and I've kept the identifying details to a minimum, and that I've used fake names and details, I feel comfortable using this as a space to vent and organize my thoughts. So here we go. I decided to head over while the kids were at school. My mom and I had some coffee and caught up for a bit before delving into some important tidbits. I asked her why she was certain that Robin was not in the wrong. She told me that it was not her place to tell me everything that Robin spoke to her. However, she could say that the situation arose because Robin had confided in Tiffany, and Tiffany broke that trust in a big way. Seeing as she was unwilling to tell me more than just the risk of breaking Robin's trust, I did kinda respect that, but she invited me to stay on until Robin got home and speak to her myself. So I shot Robin a text saying that I was at my mother's house and I would love to have a chit-chat, so she would not be caught completely off guard. She's gotten a ride from a friend that day, so she came straight home and Lucas picked Tiffany up to take her to her dance lesson. So we spoke, and put it lightly, I'm extremely disappointed in my daughter. Robin told me that shortly before they moved in with us, while they were packing up their old place, Lucas had found some journals that her mother had left behind when she passed away. Robin had been wishing for some way to connect with her mom during, this big change in her life, and the journals had come to just the right time. Her mom had lived a wonderful, adventurous life. She loved to travel, and her job, it all, was a bit demanding of it, so it was a good match. As such, she had a lot of experience to write about. The contents of one of the journals were unlike the others. While it still details the amazing places that she went, the journal also chronicles each time that she's been unfaithful to Lucas. Evidently, enough times to fill a significant portion of the journal. The dates that, she went on were extravagant, unlike the low-key, like their family had led. Robin said that at times she felt that she was reading a storybook. She said that her mom referred to each man by a pseudonym, like Cherry Blossom, Black Swan, the Nutcracker, different names to symbolize her exploits with different men. Then Robin told me that she had only ever told one person of this, outside of my mother and me, and she could not bear to tell her father or brother, knowing that it would break both of their hearts and shatter their perception of her mom. So, she told Tiffany, and she said that Tiffany had actually been really receptive to it, that she would listen and comfort Robin. She said that Tiffany had been really interested in the story, but that she accepted the support that she received. She thought that maybe they were actually starting to get along. Then she saw Tiffany's bedroom, her giant Lego cherry blossom tree, her Black Swan poster, and the tiny Nutcracker display, all of her mother's infidelities, all of Robin's secrets reduced to a bedroom decor. Robin knew that it was not a coincidence, and she had never been jealous of the space Tiffany had created. She was hurt and angry of the betrayal. Well, that leads me to the present day. Robin begged me not to tell her father any of this, but how can I keep this a secret? I don't want to betray her trust. I just simply don't know what to do. Update number 4. I spoke to Robin again, and I told her that I could not keep this from her dad, but I would not do anything without her permission. I told her that he had a right to know, but also that she did not deserve to bear the weight of her knowledge alone. I asked her if she would feel better if I spoke to Lucas myself, and she agreed. I told him, as gently as somebody could, what Robin had told me, and guys, he was absolutely shocked to learn the cause of the room being wrecked, but he did not seem surprised by the infidelity. Evidently, he had already known. He spoke to Robin afterward and apologized for making her feel as though she had to be shielded. He should have told her sooner and promised to do better, and she's now back to living with us. As for what Tiffany did, we felt it was best for me to speak to her first before having everyone else talk together. In the interest of not writing out some very lengthy, emotional-charged conversation, initially filled with denial, I'll summarize the events as followed. Tiffany admitted that what she has done. She said that after Robin told her about her mom's exploit, she found the story super cool. Obviously, according to her, she loved her stepfather, but she was completely taken with how interesting Robin's mother's life had led. She said that it was tough, though she was going to leave it at that. But when she'd been seeing the big cherry blossom display while shopping with Grandma Skylar, she'd been reminded of the guy codenamed Cherry Blossom. She said that she let a little bit slip to Grandma Skylar, who told her that she's been aware of her daughter's infidelities, and that she found the nicknames cool. Together, they amassed a collection of decor items relating to the journal entries. And Grandma Skylar told Tiffany details Robin had not even told her. Tiffany said that she knew it was wrong, but she was so swept up by all the intrigue of it, and the fact that an adult, Robin's own family, and encouraging it just made her think it was okay. The moment she told me that Grandma Skylar was involved, I called Lucas. We listened as Tiffany told us the rest and made sure that she knew that she was still in the wrong, but that an adult should never influence her like this either. She had still chosen to do something that she knew would hurt Robin. Consequences will be dealt with regarding that, but looking at the big picture, things finally began to make sense for Lucas and I. Lucas had never been particularly keen on his late wife's mother, since she's never really approved of me for her daughter anyways. He'd been civil, first for his wife, then for his children, but he never truly liked her. Apparently, meddling like this was perfectly in line with his perception of her. We made sure to speak to all of the kids together, about everything that transpired before anything else. However, the girls were both informed of the full story. Some of their actions were excused, while others, such as destroying items unrelated to the journal entries and acting out in violence as a whole on Robin's part, and starting this all in the first place and betraying her sister's trust in Tiffany's part. Yeah, those were highlighted as unacceptable and fittingly punished. The girls had a very emotional conversation, and though they were definitely not okay, apologies were given to both parties. Okay, regarding Grandma Skylar, Lucas and I chose to speak to her without the children there. Infuriatingly, she seemed quite proud of her daughter's exploits and only showed remorse regarding the rift that she had caused between the two girls. To make a long story short, we will no longer be interacting with her for the foreseeable future. We just don't quite like the idea of her influencing our girls any more than she already has. With all that said and done, that's really it, guys. From the depths of my heart, thank you to everybody who reached out, commented, and provided support through all of this. Even if you have just been following along in silence, your presence has been appreciated. Final update. Well, I meant it when I said that, was it for this whole situation with my girls and their grandma. However, the odd notification still came through from this account. And in the interest of not losing myself in responding to every single comment and message that I've received, I figure I'll just post one more update. An epilogue, if you will. Things have been good in our household. The basement has been restored to its short-lived glory, and any insensitive decor, and believe it or not, Tiffany and Robin had actually been hanging out there a lot. Cal, true to his word, has all but taken up residence on the couch down there. But the girls have really taken to the space together. Looking at it now, you can see both of their personalities reflecting quite clearly in the hangout space. The way the teenagers are able to grow apart and back together again will not be amazing to me. Despite everything that's happened between them, the girls have actually grown closer. If you ignored the fact that they're visually polar opposites, you'd mistake them for bio sisters, with the way that they bicker and still braid each other's hair at the same time. For anybody concerned about Grandma Skylar, whether you're a random internet user or a lurking family member who has somehow found this post, we do not plan on welcoming her back into our lives anytime soon. The damage that she's caused between our girls and her total disrespect of Lucas is something that we don't see ourselves forgiving anytime soon. While I'm always hesitant to put up a bad energy out of the world, I truly hope that she regrets ever meddling in my family's lives, and that every time she looks at a picture of Robin, she remembers the granddaughter she could have kept close to her, but instead drove away. If not, I'm sure all of her nephews and nieces who have been trying to contact us to tell us that we are horrible people, we're taking away the last reminders of her daughter. It'll be more than enough to keep her entertained. Anyways, I'll be here with my family, whole, peaceful, and loved.